part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I'm Damon Royster, still trying out a new cadence for this intro. And today we are beginning our month-long coverage of the Wolverine movies. Happy July. Michael, this is going to be out in July. You know you wanted it. And we're going to start, of course, with X-Men Origins, Wolverine, a.k.a. Bone Claw. This is not Wolverine. This is Bone Claw. That's who this is. I've got assembled a crackerjack team. One guest, one phenomenal special guest. I can't believe we got this guy. But our first regular guest, this first person, they are an actor, comedian, writer, producer, dabbler in clown, fringe enthusiast. They love Pokemon, and they are the brand new owner of a fingerboard, which I've learned today is just those tiny little skateboards that you can play with your fingers, just called fingerboards. I thought it had something to do with charcuterie, but please welcome to your ears, your friend and mine, William Woods. What's up, William?
Thank you for having me. Very, very excited to be here.
We are so lucky to have you. And okay, William, I'm so sorry, but shut up 1 second. This is amazing.
Sorry.
We have an amazing guest. We thought we could get him for Deadpool, but he wasn't available. But we, through connections, producer Michael really came through for me today. He's about to enter the Zoom. I'm so excited. Please welcome to your ears. We've got Ryan Ugh, no. Michael, how did this happen again? How does he keep getting into these Zoom calls? Oh my God. Sorry, everybody. Unfortunately, it's Ryan Kappmeyer, everyone. Ryan Kappmeyer, how are you?
Good. It's me, co-star of the Smash Christmas rom-com Best Friends, Ryan Reynolds.
No,
or just friends.
He doesn't even know the name of his movies. It can't be Ryan Reynolds.
What are you talking about? Amy Smart and I are very good friends. I love working with Anna Faris.
Amy Smart has no friends. Everyone knows that. It's Ryan Kappmeyer back again. Ryan, how does it feel to be back for another Ryan Reynolds superhero film?
Feels pretty solid. I gotta say, I wish it wasn't this film though.
Yeah. X-Men Origins Wolverine. I want to go to William Woods because before we started recording, you were telling us you loved this movie. You were obsessed with it when it came out in 2009.
Yeah.
It was. And for me, this movie is 2009. I think of this movie. Explain yourself, please.
I mean, this is coming out of the first year of college for me. Mm-hmm. I had finally lost my virginity, which was amazing. And I was seeing the girl I lost my virginity to. So I was on top of the world, and this was the first time that I could start growing facial hair. Wow. At least I thought, I did like the no shave November that everybody does that first year of college.
Yep.
And I saw Wolverine and I was like, I can accomplish anything that I want to accomplish. I've had sex with a woman, and I have gotten a girlfriend. And so now I can grow these mutton chops. I could become Wolverine. And it looked like armpit hair on my face. It really did. But I was so committed to it. It was absolutely disgusting. And everybody was like, God, you got to get that off your face. But I had one person validate me, my friend Seiju. And he was like, oh, you look like Wolverine. That's all I needed. I needed one person. And Seiju came through for me. Just out of the blue, I ran into him at the park in like suburbia, Denver. And he was like, oh, I like your facial hair. You look like Wolverine. And I was like, holy shit. It doesn't look bad. It looks good. I got my passport photo done with these things.
Wow.
My brother was cast on The Real World at this time, so I went and visited him with this on my stuff.
And I hate that you casually dropped that, but okay, keep going.
Sorry, but it's on TV now, so it's like this is recorded history. And the entire summer I had this on my face. And Yeah, it was terrible. I just imagine armpit hair on the side of my face.
Well, so you were looking at it, but because your one friend said it looked good, you kept it. How long did you keep this facial hair?
This was easily like 3 or 4 months. It was bad.
Damn.
It was bad.
But did you feel more confident? Did you feel like Wolverine?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I felt like Wolverine. I felt like it made me like stronger, and it made me tougher. You know, I felt a little bit more tougher. I felt grown up.
Yes, I could see that. Real quick, what was the city of the real world that your brother was on?
It was DC.
DC. Okay.
Sorry for dropping it, but it's vital to the story because he was like, you cannot come visit me if you have this facial hair. And then all of the sound guys and camera guys they cut all of their hair into mine after the first day of seeing it. And I was like, oh, they like it. But they were making fun of me. They were all just terribly making fun of me.
Oh my God.
Rightfully so. I should have been, I really should have been sat down by somebody. But I just I probably needed to hear it from my girlfriend, who I lost my virginity to. She probably needed to sit me down and be like, look, you got to get rid of this. That's probably the only person I would listen to at the time. Very codependent, very attached. Is not a good. I learned a lot about myself. And this film is not poltergeist. What do you call that?
I don't think the word's poltergeist.
Catalyst.
Catalyst.
It's a catalyst, yeah. It represents all of it for me.
Incredible. Man, and this was a random ask, so I'm glad that we found this connection for you to be on this podcast. Ryan Kappmeyer, I assume you don't have that kind of origin. What's your origin to X-Men Origin?
Boy, I cannot stress how different it is. I watched it for the first time on Thursday night in my basement. So,
first time,
yeah, my brother was. Yeah, I think I've seen parts of it, but yeah, no, didn't. Long since I've lost my virginity, since that's apparently quite relevant to this film. My brother was not on the real world, unfortunately. I mean, I don't have a meaningful connection to it at all. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of his facial hair configuration. Just like the mutton chops that go down that far, and also somebody else's facial hair in this movie is kind of not great either. Probably Victor's, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
I just watched it for sorry, go ahead, Damon.
I was just gonna. Victor is Liev Schreiber, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And that's Beast, right? That's
Sabbertooth.
Sabbertooth.
Wow.
A Sabbertooth. Wow.
I can't believe. Did you hear not Ryan Reynolds just say that?
In your defense, they don't necessarily make it very clear in this. There's a lot of first name calling in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I completely forgot that Wolverine's names was James. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Jimmy.
Well, let's start there. Let's start with James. We start obviously in 1845 in, bumfuck royal Canada. My God, as I wrote my notes, dumbass fever on the prairie. Can someone explain to me what? So we get this basically we get the climax to a soap opera in 5 minutes. So am I? William Woods, you've got your finger on the pulse of this movie. Let me know if I'm right. James is dying, and then he thinks his father is killed, and that ignites his mutant power of bone claws and healing. So Bone Claw heals himself when he makes his first kill. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's pure stress and adrenaline that during puberty, and we all know puberty really messes us up. And so that's where mutant powers. I mean, we saw Rogue in the very first X-Men movie. Sorry to bring up another movie, but Rogue gets her powers in the heat of the moment, puberty at its fullest. And so James is like sick. He's seen his dad, his quote unquote fake dad, for some reason,
which is insane. That's too much information. So it's like, I'm your father.
Yeah. And you're my half brother. It's just weird.
So he had a dad, then he had a new dad, and now he has no dads.
Yeah, because one's dead, and then he killed the other one.
Mm-hmm.
All in this, this all happens within like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's really quick.
And
Just
his
about.
mom, I mean, come on, mom. Like, if my son just like grew claws, I would be like, yo, let's figure this out together. And she's just like, what are you? And I'm like, okay, you really want to kick out the only family member you have left? All right.
Yeah, mom really, her emotion swung really quickly. It's like, wow, I assume lover is dead, killed by the father of my children, and then my son kills that dad. And she's like, it's like last thing seen is how she feels. Like, what are you? Like, there's a lot of dead bodies in your house right now, and you're concerned about, like, she just kind of gives like this mean girl high school like fucking freak. There's so much going on, and that's what you're choosing to harp on.
Yes. She's so mad.
She's so mad. She's so mad. She's never seen again. So, don't worry about her. I love how we don't deal with this whole family thing is just dropped. Like we care about the brother situation. Am I reading the room correctly? Are we all the youngest brother in our families?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we all have an older brother, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Even producer Michael. Wow. This
Nice.
is the movie for us.
Yes.
This is the Younger Brother Club. Welcome to it. Ryan Kappmeyer.
Yeah.
Famously, your brother is Matt Kappmeyer, who did not invite me to his wedding, which I'm totally over. It's been years. I don't care about that anymore.
Boy.
I don't care. I brought it up because I don't care. Have you and Matt ever been to war together? And if so, which one was your favorite?
I don't know if you could say we've been to war together in the conventional sense, but I'd like to think we've been through many wars together, whether that was high school or college or moving to Chicago. I would say our favorite must have probably been collectively college. Yeah.
The college war. Ryan, follow-up question. How did you feel about the wars presented in this movie? Did you like this sequence?
No, it confused me so quickly. I was like, I mean, there's so many questions I have, and I don't know if you want me to kind of go off of what we're talking about now. Okay, one, how old is Wolverine? Like, I didn't realize part of his lore is that he's like 300. Also,
seriously,
they should have made it a little more. They should have made it a little more clear which side of the war they were fighting on in the Civil War.
Yeah,
didn't really. Like they should have made that a little more
questionable. Very questionable, but they were Union. They were Union soldiers. But you have to research that. They do not make it clear.
They do not. I mean, they were kind of in blue, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of assumed that would have been the case, obviously, but yeah, then there was that whole like back-to-back thing which they were trying to make super dramatic or whatever, but I just didn't understand that. I had no idea that he was like that old or was ever like ever served. I know he's like always got dog tags on, but like I don't know, he could have gone to the
but he didn't even those aren't even dog tags he got from the fucking war. He got that from Weapon X.
Yeah, those are just his military numbers from his experiment.
He got completely different dog tags for a non-war.
I did love that moment where they're in the lab and then it just cuts to like a dog tag like press, and it's like, oh, they just had this in the adamantium laboratory candy.
And why is it necessary?
I don't know. But
why
yeah,
are the dog tags even necessary?
A lot of it is it's fucking time travel bootstrap theory because it was established in earlier X-Men movies. They have to put it in here. Because they're trying to like make this a seamless, like you could watch the first 3 X-Men movies in this and be like, oh yeah, this is the prequel.
Yeah. So this opening sequence where they're like fighting in every war from like the Civil War to Vietnam, it seemed like maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe even Vietnam
was the end of it.
Yeah. More did I think of it? I think it was confusing and just odd.
And like, why does he stop aging once he gets to Hugh Jackman age?
40, 44.
44, because he was a little boy and he grew up and then he's like, no, I'm gonna stop here.
Yeah,
this is where I'm gonna choose to stop.
1845, he's a little boy. It doesn't if your mutant powers, so the reason why he's so young is because of his healing powers, which started at his puberty age. So that means that he should stay that for a long time. Doesn't quite they don't quite do it,
Doesn't quite
we could have
compute.
seen him, him and Victor maybe as some teenagers fighting for the North.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And speaking of Victor, William Woods, talk to me about Victor. Do you why does 3 bones come out of Wolverine's hand, but Victor gets the full claw?
He gets the nails.
He gets the nails, which can also grow.
Yeah, if I had to take a wild guess to that, it's
Mhm.
because Wolverines in the wild, they have claws that grow out of their paws, and saber-tooth tigers, their claws grow out of their hands.
Ah,
If I had to take a guess,
then that's a
don't
good
know
guess.
much about them, but that's what I would guess.
Just want to ask, are there any Ray Donovan fans on the call right now? Cool.
Never
We're not
seen
that
it.
age. How about any Cotton Weary fans from the Scream movies? I love Scream movie. Love Scream.
They're
Love Cotton
the
Weary.
best.
Too
So
scary for me. Even this movie had a lot of parts that I was like, too scary.
what was the scariest part of this movie to you, William?
Okay, when the introduction of Deadpool and also the Blob. The Blob scared the shit out of me. And and when you get to see Ryan Reynolds, who's he's all fun and cute and he's all making jokes and stuff, killing people, and then now he's like
Mouthless.
now he's mouthless because Stryker said you'd be a perfect soldier for us not mouth for years. I'm like, he's cracking jokes. He's he's having a fun time. Why are you such an asshole? Like, it's not like his mouth is making things worse for your operations. He's doing his job. But now he's terrifying. He can teleport. He's got laser vision, and he doesn't have a mouth. And he's like got all sorts of cool
Swords.
tattoos. Yeah, he's like freaking got sword hands, and that's the scariest part. Oh, and his eye, the seeing the freaking clown makeup get put into his eyes, that's scary as shit.
Yeah, he's got that mutant power to apply clown makeup to himself instantly. Let's run through this Weapon X crew. Ryan Kappmeyer, you seem the freshest to the X-Men universe. Did you understand who William Stryker was? Did you get it? Did you get it?
I mean, it seemed like he was some obviously like high-ranking military official, but other than that, I don't know. Like, what is he, like a Nick Fury in some ways? Is that like a good comparison?
Like an evil Nick Fury. Like he puts together bad people with superpowers.
Because he's like one of the main bad guys in like in the X-Men movies.
Yes, in X-Men 2, where he was
X-Men
played
2.
by Brian Cox from Succession.
Oh.
And so this is Danny Houston, famously Angelica Houston's brother. And he's supposed to be a younger Brian Cox, but I'm also like, it's still just another old guy.
Yeah, they got somebody 6 years younger.
Right. And it's supposed to be like 20 years in the past. I'm like, I don't know. I want to look up. Could somebody look up if Danny Houston and Brian Cox are the same age? I'm going to have my crack research team on this as we move in. Let's just run through this Weapon X team because, man, these were the stars of the time, I felt.
Yeah. Will.I.Am. Oh, my God.
Let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the laugh I had when watching World War I footage and the credit Will.I.Am shows up. That's a very specific laugh.
I was shocked.
I couldn't believe it. And, I have to say, I was very surprised by Will.I.Am. He was actually worse than I thought he would be. I thought he would have some kind of like acting prowess, but man, like his death scene when he's fighting with Sabretooth, I guess he was surprised when his character died. I don't know. Am I being too harsh on Will.I.Am? Are there any Black Eyed Peas fans out there?
No, but I was just thinking the other day that like they really did drop the R word in their song.
Oh yeah. I mean,
get it started.
Yeah. It's buried. Now it's like you can only find Let's Get It Started unless you're like a real sicko for that. You really want to hear that word.
That's like forever. That's just like, it's like ingrained in my brain that exists. And I'm just like, that is so funny that they were in the studio collaborating because they were, like you have to give it to them. that's an entertaining group. Not my kind of music necessarily, like pop and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
there had to be some good collaboration. And you got Fergie on there. Everybody came together and they were like, yes,
Do you
this is
think
the line.
do you think Stryker's Weapon X team should have hired the Black Eyed Peas? Because we got Will.I.Am, Fergie, Taboo, and
Yes.
Apple to App. I believe that's how you say his name. The fourth member.
Absolutely. Oh, Damon, master.
And then
absolutely. That's perfect.
Yeah.
that should have just been the opening credits too. Like, don't introduce anyone else until the end credits. We don't need to know who plays Logan / Jimmy / Wolverine or anyone else. Just give us just all 4 Black Eyed Peas.
The movie we deserve. We also got Dominic Monaghan proving. I'm just gonna trash this entire cast. I'm so sorry. Dominic Monaghan proving he can only do one kind of character. What was his thing? He could like control technology. Did you guys watch Lost?
He
Charlie
had
on Lost.
telekinesis, but yeah, they only showed it in like light bulbs and stuff. But
Yeah,
he's like got telekinesis.
like that scene where he's like working at a carnival. It's like turn off the lamp, and no one can. And he's only asking for $1, and he makes $2, and then he makes this man so mad. He's like, "Yeah, I won." I'm like, "You just made $2. What's the business model?"
Yeah, for him to move his powers to like carnival work is just downright silly. Like there's plenty of people like the Blob could, that can be carnival stuff, but yeah, this guy, it's not a good fit for him. I'll say that.
Let's talk about the Blob. Ryan Kappmeyer, I think producer Michael did some research and he found that your favorite X-Men character ever is the Blob. So how did you feel watching? Because you get a little origin, because the Blob was not always the Blob. The Blob became the Blob. What was it like to see your hero in live action?
It was pretty incredible, and also again somewhat bewildering because I don't fully understand what his power is. Is it just that he's really strong, and then because becoming the Blob is not his power, right? He was just chugging down Slurpees left and right, and then just became the Blob. So what's his inherent power? Just strength?
Yeah, I think it's just super strength.
Okay.
And this is how the movie presented. I have always grew up believing that the Blob's strength was in his mass.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently he's just got super strength and he just let himself go, like what they did with Fat Thor in the Avenger movies.
Yeah, it felt a lot like Fat Thor.
Mm-hmm. Also, I love that detour. It became like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm in that boxing ring scene. The whole Bub versus Blob thing. I get to see Larry David getting into a fight. Get out of my way, Bub. Just call me Blob. Yeah, and then cue the music. The theme song.
Amazing.
That's essentially the team. Am I forgetting anybody?
Well, yeah, my favorite, the guy that's good at aiming at stuff, and he's probably the worst actor of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of his name.
Oh, I remember Agent Zero.
So they called him Agent Zero at some point. Yeah, is his power that he is good at shooting guns?
And he can leap. He can shoot guns really well.
Oh, that's right.
He was like leapfrogging over everything. I'm like,
yeah. And it was like he had one note for acting, and it was always that he was just like, I don't like you.
Yeah, which to me read as like, oh, I really like you. I don't know. I think Agent Zero was way too into Logan, and I was like, what are we doing here? Like, do you want to fuck Logan? Like, what's going on? Like, he just seems so mad that he had a girlfriend. I don't know. I'm just saying I've been there. Okay, we have to talk about the woman of the movie.
Kayla Silver Fox.
Kayla Silver Fox. I don't know.
This is where the movie just got me so confused because, and this is a part that in rewatching it, I was like, I completely forgot about this. That they're like, they kill her off. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, this is sad and it makes sense. But then it's like, nope, she's alive. And actually, when she was alive, she was spying on you. And she's giving us the intel because of her sister, who she loves. And I'm like, whoa, just slow down. Like,
lot.
just give me like one thing at a time. Couldn't they just like give, I don't know, a new character or something? And then for them all to like bring this back and then be at the end, be like, and then we kill her again. And you don't remember her. I'm like, whoo, holy shit.
I mean, and then God, I used to like. I think when I first watched it, I liked her like walk until your feet bleed. I was like, oh, that's so cool. But then I was like, no, just tell him to walk off a cliff. Like,
Yeah,
you would have saved the events of X-Men 2. Kayla, of course, that Kayla would do this. God, I'm just gonna say on this podcast, never trust the Kayla.
I want you to march right on down to. I'm gonna have you march on down to the Woodfield Mall, and I'm gonna have you check out every single store.
Mhm.
And you know what? I'm gonna have you browse the Dillards for 4 hours, and then go to the Nordstrom, and I'm gonna have you walk over to the E-Bar in Nordstrom. You're gonna get yourself a latte and a power bar, and then you're gonna go
As
over.
she's dying, she's saying this.
Yeah.
She's not great,
yeah.
and also the role sucks. It's such a, I don't know. Her whole deal is like she's just. I feel like her eyes never lock on anything. She's just kind of like, what's going on? What was this bullshit she said? Why is the moon so lonely? You're both married men. If your wives ever just came up to you and said, why is the moon so lonely? Would you answer? Or would you just be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, fuck no, I wouldn't answer. How do you answer a question like that? Why is the moon so lonely? It's not sentient. So first of all, why are you like, also, aren't there bigger priorities? There's a lot of lonely people. Like,
I don't think the moon's, I feel like the moon is the least lonely of all of our galaxy. The moon and the Earth, they're connected. I mean, we have waves and tides and our weather patterns, gravity, the gravitational pull. I mean, you want to talk lonely? Let's talk Pluto. Let's talk. Let's get out there. You know, talk about the other planets.
Agreed.
Those are some lonely planets. We haven't even been there.
Finally, we're talking about this.
So let me just get this straight. Well, if your wife asked you, you would just tell her she was wrong and then go on a diatribe about Pluto instead.
I'd have to mansplain our galaxy to my wife. I would have to. I would just. You're not giving me any options. I would need to then absolutely belittle the fact that she had that thought and make sure that as the man in the relationship, I'm making sure I'm the smarter one. That's what I would have to do.
Before we hop on before we go to a break, I had planned to really like interview Ryan Reynolds about Deadpool and his thoughts about how it turned out comparatively to the Deadpool movie. But since he's not here, Ryan Kappmeyer, what did you think? Because we did the Deadpool episode. How do they compare this Deadpool to the Deadpool that we know?
Yeah, you know, he's still kind of like really sardonic and everything, but this one was way darker. Also, when they were first, like when he's introduced into fighting, I'm like, why is anyone else even needed here? Like, he fought off all the bullets and like infiltrated that room within seconds.
Yeah,
he was just like doing like a well, I don't know why I'm gesticulating as if anybody on the podcast can understand what I was doing, but
Ryan Kappmeyer is acting like he's a chef at Benihana, slicing both bullets and onion towers,
which is essentially what Ryan Reynolds is doing in this scene. I would love to see footage, like the raw footage of him making that motion, like without the swords. Just but anyways, yeah, you know, this one just seemed like way darker, and like also it seemed like you weren't supposed to be laughing at his comments or anything, whereas like Deadpool is clearly like meant to be a comedy as well, and this one they're just like, he is a killing machine and that's all he's good for.
That's such a good point, that like you're not supposed to laugh. Like this era of Marvel movies, I would throw like Daredevil and Elektra in there, the back half of the Fantastic Four, or the second Fantastic Four movie, where it's like this is like where Marvel's trying to do what DC is doing. Like we have to be dark.
Mm-hmm.
These are sad people, and you're not supposed
real life.
And yeah, real life. And you're not supposed to laugh. And you know what else you're not supposed to laugh at? The commercial break. So keep it tight. don't laugh at any of the charming ads that you're about to hear for other podcasts on Press Play Podcasts. Podcast 616 will be back, and if you can believe it, we're going to talk about the plot of X-Men Origins Wolverine, if we can find it. Also, we'll talk about Taylor Kish. We got to talk about Taylor Kish. Full Hearts, can't lose. We'll be right back. Welcome, everyone, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am your host, Damon Royster, and I am inviting you to listen and subscribe to this Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. On Podcast 616, we gather some of today's greatest comedians, writers, and actors to dive deep into all things Marvel, like comic book history and lore, all the interconnected superhero storylines, and of course, who's hot and who's not in the MCU. Honestly, why aren't you listening right now? You have the power to listen to Podcast 616. And as we always say, with great power comes even greater responsibility. Listen and subscribe to Podcast 616 wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. Sorry, Ryan, you can stop screaming at me. What did you want to say?
Oh, I was say, like, once his mouth is like closed off and everything, he's essentially the character Baraka from Mortal Kombat, isn't he? Doesn't
Yes.
Baraka have like arm hands? I'm doing it again. I'm
Wait.
a Benihana chef again.
Producer Michael's pointing to a photo behind him. Is that Baraka?
Mortal Kombat X.
Wow.
Mortal Kombat X. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think his whole thing is like his mouth is closed off and he has arm hands.
Oh no,
that
he's
he
got some
uses
mad
to, like,
teeth.
slice
He's
people
got
up.
beautiful teeth.
Oh, does he?
Baraka
Okay,
has
well,
amazing teeth. Yeah.
my bad. He's got beautiful teeth.
I
apparently.
forget his clan though. He's got some good history. I'll give that to Mortal Kombat. Their lore, like what they've built out as far as like character development and stuff, is greater than any fighting game ever. And it's just absolutely amazing.
Okay. I would throw in Tekken. Tekken's pretty good. I'm beating.
Honestly,
Michael is literally wagging his finger at me. What's up with that? Okay.
throw in X-Men too. You know,
Thank
they
you.
had some good arcade games.
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
Thank you,
yeah.
Ryan, for getting us back on track. Okay. Let's talk about the plot of this movie. I mean, it's
Can
complex,
we
but
just say
also
one thing
simple.
about the war stuff?
Please.
Okay, you're telling me that these two soldiers are absolutely indestructible, unstoppable soldiers, and they aren't even like they're not promoted through the ranks. You're talking about war heroes for the Union. We're talking about war heroes for World War I. We're talking about D-Day war heroes. We're talking about and you're still making them just like scrungy ass foot soldiers. I'm like, okay, no wonder Victor got all mad at everybody. By the time he got to Vietnam, he spent 100 years fighting. He's got
Nobody cared.
PTSD out the ass. And so yeah, he's lost it. He's lost his fucking mind. You can have mutant powers and you can still lose your fucking mind. Obviously, Wolverine's got some PTSD, and they even talk about it.
He's got better healing powers.
Yeah, but like they should be generals and stuff. Why aren't they generals?
I just assumed it was that time where like you could just sign up for war like you were signing up for a Facebook account. Like you could just they're like, please go to war for us.
Yeah, I think at one point in time, Victor is referred to as a private, which I believe is like the entry level rank. So they didn't even you can still rise to like certain other levels of foot soldier, and they just weren't at all. Also, the general in this just had a comical amount of badges. It takes up like most of his suit coat. They just like really had to demonstrate how decorated that guy is.
Is Stryker?
No, the general, who's
Okay.
also in like the lab and everything.
Yes. Okay. The older man. Yes.
Yes.
So yeah. So they do the war, then they join Weapon X, and then Wolverine's like, "This is too much," and Sabretooth's like, "I fucking live for this." And then there's this like, how long did you buy that Sabretooth was not working with Stryker? That in Strike, like the idea was that Sabretooth was like killing off all these people, and Stryker was like, "Wolverine, we need you, but first let me put all this metal on your bones, then you'll win." It just, I don't know, it read like a trap to me the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? Were you
Yeah,
tricked? Was anyone tricked by Danny Houston?
No, also like if I don't trust someone already and they came up to me and said, "Let me put a bunch of metal in you," that's not going to make me like switch and start trusting them again.
Yeah, Ryan's made that mistake a few too many times.
Yeah. I can really grow these fingernails out.
God, and just stop putting metal into your system.
Yeah. I also love when
You get
Wolverine gets
nickel
the metal
disease.
claws and he's looking at him in the bathroom of this lovely couple, this farmhouse. And
Remember them?
the effects of these, it literally reminded me of like Space Jam. It didn't even look like good effect. It just looked like animated claws. And he's like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, that
That's
doesn't even look 3D animation. It just looks like you just drew cartoon claws on this guy.
Yeah, I would agree. You mentioned the old couple. Shout out to them, farmer Fred and farmer wife. They did, man. They really shouldn't have been. I think the lesson is don't be kind to strangers, because they will ultimately lead to your death.
Yeah, you will get sniped. You're gonna get
Easily.
You're gonna get killed by government officials for
so
helping out.
Wolverine's got these metal claws. He's on the run. And also his girlfriend has been killed, quote unquote, by Sabretooth. And he's just looking for some vengeance. And I think the last person who escaped from the facility was Gambit, played by Taylor Kish. Are there any Friday Night Lights fans in the call? I see Ryan, your hand is up. Ryan, what this is the era of Taylor Kish failing, because John Carter is just around the corner. Were you rooting for Taylor Kish? Did you want him to be our next action hero?
I'm always rooting for Taylor Kitsch. I love Tim Riggins. He in this movie, I was just like, oh, it's good to see Tim Riggins again. Like I wasn't even thinking of him like Gambit. So yeah, definitely full steam ahead on him. But my God, I mean, just another performance for that's like his accent kept waning. Also, what was his accent? Like they go to New Orleans to find him, so it should be relatively clear what the accent is, but just listening to him, it's like John Voight in Anaconda. It's like, where are you from? What is going on here? I don't know. Are you Polish? Are you from Louisiana? I don't know.
I don't know.
And then sometimes he's just talking without an accent.
Yes.
Truly. And the accent was unwieldy. And also, I think there was a disconnect of like what people thought Gambit was, because he was giving me magician the entire time.
Yeah.
With the cards.
Yeah,
like when
it seems like
he makes the arc of the cards.
Yeah, they might as well have just introduced him at the carnival as well, like doing sleight of hand magic tricks. Also, he like anytime he was fighting, I was like, this feels really cartoonish.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know, something about like his stick and everything felt like really, really cartoonish to me.
I was just gonna say, I think because he was the favorite of the animated series. Everybody loved Gambit. I mean, he was like my favorite growing up, and just because of the animated series. And so I think that they knew, hey, we're making this movie and we're introducing Gambit, and it was such a big deal at the time. They're like, how close can we make him to the animated series? And therefore, you had this terrible try at a Creole sort of Louisiana accent, and all of the card tricks, everything. And it was just super cartoony because they were like, let's make it as close to the animated series as possible.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go into the big ending. We go back to Weapon X. We get a nice for those who are fans of X2, we see a young Jason Stryker, the kid with the two different pupils, different colored pupils, who's like frozen. That's William Stryker's son. Real ones no. And then let's go. Great. Kayla's alive. She has a sister who I guess is Emma Frost. They have the same powers as Emma Frost, but in the credits it's just listed as sister/Emma. God, this movie bums me out.
Yeah, I mean, don't give the women too much in this movie.
No.
Yeah, there's the Bechdel test. There's no passing that in this film.
They did have my favorite dialogue of like, "Go, what?" I feel like the blonde sister, she says "what" like 5 times in the 5 minutes she's in the movie. Most of her dialogue is "what."
You want me to run now that you've released me from my cell? What?
It's like, I have to stay. I'm bulletproof. That is not a good, just because you can put diamond on your body. How does that help anyone? I don't know. She was like standing as a shield, but she's such a tiny person. She made me mad. Danny Houston as William Stryker giving a perfect 60% performance. I felt like even as he was getting mad, it was like, find him. You could like see the coffee in his hand while he was delivering these lines. Then we get, and then both Kayla and Sabretooth are like, oh my gosh, William Stryker is going to betray me and not give me the thing I want. William Woods,
yes.
Can you explain to me why Sabretooth teamed up with Logan to fight Deadpool?
Okay, so yeah, you're absolutely so right to be confused because, and this is what everybody even talks about online with this movie, is they just jump into it. They're just now, because Deadpool is it seems to me that Deadpool is such a great threat, and William Stryker's given Deadpool the orders to kill everybody else, that now they have no other option than to team up again. But it's like, wait, what? There's no smooth transition to it. It's as if there was like 20 minutes of scenes cut out for this moment. And they're like, yep, we just got to team up and take him out. And we're friends now. Like it's not just that they're teamed up and hate each other's guts still. It's like, no, we're all good. We are all good. And it is so beyond confusing. I just was like, what is happening here?
I mean, it's an action movie. It's a great action.
And of course, on top of a nuclear power plant, like on top, like it has to be on top. Hey, let's get up there.
Has to be on top. We get nice decapitation. Also, wait, logically, how? So when Deadpool's shooting the lasers out of his eyes, and Wolverine just makes this like shield with his claws, can he do that? I feel like some light could get through. It's just 3 claws. I don't know. They defeat Deadpool. I assume Sabretooth died as well, right?
No, Sabretooth lives.
What?
Yes, this is his origin story. This is Liev Schreiber is early Sabretooth. We see Sabretooth in the first X-Men movie.
We do. Not played by Liev Schreiber.
No, they picked you can't even recognize him because the prosthetics are insane.
Yeah. But Kayla does get shot, and then Danny Houston puts a bullet in Wolverine's brain, which will of course trigger amnesia. And then Kayla is like, walk until your feet bleed. And then Wolverine just wakes up, meets Gambit, is told his name's Logan, and I guess he's just off to Canada to become a cage fighter in X-Men 1.
Gambit invites him, hey, come with me and this crew. We got Professor X, we got our Captain Picard over here, and he's ready to take you in. And Logan's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm not going with you.
Damn. Shout out to Patrick Stewart. We get a little X-Men shout out with a young Cyclops. shoehorned in, if you ask me.
Yes. Confusing looking eyes. Like, is it like bandages and cardboard over his eyes? Like,
Yeah, well, he's fresh. Weapon X is very great. They got great eye care. They just gave him a glaucoma test. So his eyes are dilated. All right. Any final thoughts on X-Men Origins Wolverine? Last call. I'm pretty done with it, but what are you? Any other thoughts?
I'm just gonna say this movie was for that era of where, hey, these these superhero movies are gonna be this new thing. This movie was everything that it was a good lesson for all of like the future MCU and stuff. I think Fox was like, forget the spandex, forget this. We need them in leather jackets and we need them to be as close to the Matrix as possible. And in all reality, they should have just made Deadpool wear the red suit and they should have just made Wolverine wear the spandex. And instead of doing his hair like that, it's like, imagine, I think they kind of did this with Batman a little bit in The Dark Knight, but if you get rid of those ears, you're not going to have Batman.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird.
It's gonna be
So
weird.
there's a lot of lessons learned with this movie, and I'll always appreciate it for what it taught me as a young man. And but I don't need to watch it again.
I would agree.
Maybe 10
Ryan?
more years.
Yeah, this movie just really kind of the whole bone claw thing was, I was like, has he always had bone claws? I thought the claws came along with the adamantium, but maybe I'm wrong. The age is still concerning to me. Yeah, there's just a lot going on here.
There's a lot going on, and we still have a lot going on here in Podcast 616 because now is the time for our favorite segment this week of every week. The annual Fuck, Marry, Kill, the weekly Fuck, Marry, Kill. That's the better word. Today, we are going to choose between 3 Weapon X alumnus, and we'll decide who will fuck, marry, and kill. On the docket today is Gambit, played by Taylor Kish, Sabretooth, played by Liev Schreiber, and Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. I'll go first to give my guest time to think. I actually have not thought about this, so this is going to be on the fly. I think my kill would have to be...
Well, before you answer, can I ask just a question?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
so
of
sorry,
course.
Damon.
Yes.
Are we talking Deadpool before? Are we talking like with mouth or without mouth?
I think we're going to go without mouth. So this is when he's
this
full.
huge. This changes everything for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think my kill... Oh, gosh. Damn. Man. I'm going to kill Gambit because I hate magic.
Whoa. Okay.
I don't hate magic, but like I just couldn't. His kind of magic I hate. Couldn't be me. I think I'm gonna fuck Sabretooth. Just I'll clip those nails first, and then we'll get to it. Because Liev Schreiber, he's a very handsome man, but Sabretooth is, I can't live with that every day. And then I'm gonna marry Deadpool, mouthless. Wow. So I'll be the funny one. And I would use him as a guard to attack my enemies and to advance myself in the world. And
wow.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. William Woods, first time on the podcast. Please give us your picks.
Yeah, those are such amazing reasons. So first off, I have to kill mouthless Deadpool because he scares the shit out of me. And yeah, I'm sorry, he's a goner for me. He's donezo. He's killed. And yeah, Liev Schreiber is going to be the fuck with claws. And because here's the thing is he's not marriage material for me because he's carrying around way too much drama. There's a lot of shit, and he's not going to be willing to work on himself either. This is a man that's set in his ways and let's say a little toxic. But when it comes to a fuck situation, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun time. This is like, hey, no strings attached. This is going to be like, I'm going to be thinking about this for the rest of my life,
Mm-hmm.
And I will marry Gambit. And the reason is because, it's not the most romantic choice, but he's the safe choice. And sometimes in life we need to settle. And I just feel that like I'm not worried about him having like war trauma.
Mhm.
And, I'll like laugh at his magic tricks, and he can like do cool stuff with his stick and like bow staff or whatever. And yeah. And then, sometimes like, when I have like friends over and he's like saying things in his accent, we can all like laugh together and kind of talk shit. And he's like, the more drunk he gets, the more like, irritated he gets about us making fun of him. And then, it's just like cute things like that, that like on your deathbed, you can look back on and be like, oh, I enjoyed my time with them, but I still fucked Liev Schreiber. And I definitely killed Deadpool, Mouthless Deadpool. So
Definitely did. An amazing picks, amazing reasons. Thank you, William Woods. Ryan Kappmeyer.
Yeah, let's start it up. So I'm gonna kill Deadpool because he nasty. He's got a lot of open wounds all over the place, and I also just don't want him like getting mad at me and just busting out those hand swords. Those things are huge. He's gonna ruin my home. And yeah, just gross.
True.
Yeah, a lot of open. I mean, they took him out halfway through surgery. Like,
That is true. He wasn't
stitch him
finished.
back up. Yeah. I'm gonna fuck Sabretooth because it seems
Okay.
like it's gonna be fun. Yeah, maybe we'll go get some pedicures before or something. But yeah, that's gonna have to happen. But otherwise, I don't want somebody who's, I don't know how old you are. Like you got a lot of family stuff going on. It just doesn't seem like someone I can really settle down with and start a nice life with.
Yeah.
And then
Also,
family stuff he doesn't talk about.
hygiene wise, let's think about it. His shit stink. Like,
clean those nails. Clean them. How many people have you killed with those nails? Wash them one time.
I don't think he knows how to wipe. Like, he's the kind of guy I just don't even trust that he knows how to wipe.
He probably can't wipe because he's gonna freaking get his long nails all over himself.
He's definitely a bidet user, I would say.
I hope so. God.
Yeah.
But rugged nonetheless. Sorry.
And then
just thinking.
Final choice.
And then I'm gonna marry Gambit. He's a fun loving guy who lives down in New Orleans, a city I really enjoy quite a bit. And he can do. I'm okay with his magic. I won't tolerate it much, and I'll tell him to stop a few times at dinner parties and like put the deck down. We're trying to enjoy fettuccine Alfredo. But otherwise,
this is Olive Garden. God damn it!
Yeah, he's got his own plane. He got a private jet. You're taking me on some nice vacations, and I assume he makes a lot of money gambling and stuff too. So I probably don't have to work, which is a big plus. And again, just got to give some love for my boy, Big Tim Riggins.
Texas forever.
Texas forever.
Beautiful, a beautiful round. Thank you all so much. X-Men Origins Wolverine, a solid C of a movie if I've ever seen one. But thank you both for coming here. Y'all got plugs. William Woods, if people wanted to find you on the internet, where would they go? What's up?
Oh yeah, follow me on Instagram at wolflord5000 and on Twitter at Williams a Ninja. Yeah, just posting funny stuff. Posting a lot of ploys for attention and validation. So check me out. Always looking for validation, always looking for attention. You know me.
A game I know well. You got a podcast too, don't you?
Oh my God, yes. And also me and my lovely friend Patrick, we go over movies that were wrongfully given terrible reviews, like Garbage Pail Kids and Three Ninjas. And we tell you why it's actually a conspiracy done by the Hollywood elitist deep state, but it has nothing to do. It's not a xenophobic take, I promise. It's actually very different than that. It's not elitism in Hollywood based on any sort of religion held. So I just want to make sure that's clear.
Hey, no one ever puts that disclaimer out there, so thank you so much.
Yeah, it's important. It's just important because we are talking conspiracy, that people don't think that we're white supremacists talking about Hollywood. So, it's important that, and we make sure we mention that with every episode, that this is not a white supremacist podcast. And, we've had problems with people getting into the Hollywood elitist deep state lore and them we've gotten the wrong supporters, if you know what I mean, when it comes to Garbage Pail Kids and stuff like that.
I love it. William, you're doing the good work. Thank you. Ryan Kappmeyer, where are you? Where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on social media at Kappmeyer Dude. You'll see very, very sporadic posts on Instagram and old tweets. I'm not very active on either much these days, but I also have a podcast. It's called Franchise Fanatics, hosted by our pal Cody and I, where we review entire movie franchises. Never had to say this before, but also not a white supremacist podcast. I just want to put that there's a lot of things going on here between the Civil War and William's Garbage Pail Kid podcast that I just need it known very, very clearly.
You got to declare that stuff these days. It's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and producer Michael, I think going forward, we're going to make everyone declare that before we record. I like this. But yeah, check out those podcasts. These are very funny boys. This is Podcast 616. You can follow us on Instagram at Podcast 616P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcasts, our podcasting network that is letting me talk about Wolverine all July. They're crazy. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give this podcast?
I'll give you guys an A+. You guys did a good job.
Woo!
Yes.
Thanks, Michael.
Michael, did we change your mind? Do you still like this movie?
I never liked the movie. It's just, I think it's overhated a little bit. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Overhated. Clap, 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 clap. All right. Thank you, producer Michael. Thank you, William Woods. Thank you, Ryan Kappmeyer. Thank you all for not being white supremacists. And thank you, Wolverine. We'll be back next week talking about the Wolverine, because I love to commit to a bit. But until that time, please remember that with great power comes even greater responsibility.